In this video, we're going to talk about the huge new info from the Diablo 4 developer team. We recently learned about a new PvPvE game mode in Diablo 4. This mode will have a PvE objective which needs to be completed while also being able to attack other players trying to complete it. Players will drop an ear when killed like in Diablo 1 and 2 as a trophy, and if your player is hardcore, Blizzard's current plans are to let you keep your character if you die through PvP, which is really cool, and I think incentivizes you to try out hardcore if you want to do some PvP. This PvPvE mode will take place within an area called the Fields of Hatred. The objective is to collect seeds of hatred and convert them into red dust at the altar of extraction. Once you do this, you'll be flagged for PvP. Red dust can be used to purchase cosmetic items and mount rewards. Within the Field of Hatreds, also, if you kill a certain number of players, you become a vessel of hatred, and all players will be alerted of your presence. If you survive a set amount of time as a vessel of hatred, there will be a huge reward, but it's currently unannounced what that reward is. And while you are a vessel of hatred, you are considered an elite monster, so all effects which apply to elite monsters will apply to you, whether that's reduced damage taken from elites or increased damage done to elites, so keep that in mind when you become a vessel of hatred. Another new endgame world objective system being added in Diablo 4 is the Tree of Whispers. This tree has a number of cycling world objectives called Whispers, very similar to daily quests that display on your map and reward experience, gold, and grim favors. Grim favors are a currency that can be exchanged at the Tree of Whispers for loot and experience. The Tree of Whispers unlocks through the main campaign, and once you accept a whisper from the tree, if you fail to complete it, the tree will actually hire people to go after you for breaking your contract, which really sounds interesting, basically like a mafia tree. Nightmare dungeons are like regular dungeons but with added difficulty. Think Greater Rifts from Diablo 3. Normal dungeons are free to enter, but Nightmare dungeons require a Nightmare Sigil, which can be obtained from the Tree of Whispers. The Nightmare Sigil customizes the dungeon with the effects of the item itself. Double bosses or all enemies within the dungeon are invisible until they attack, and then once you complete a Nightmare dungeon, you're rewarded with a more powerful Nightmare Sigil, and they will go up in power infinitely, with increasingly more rare items dropping from harder Nightmare dungeons. This certainly feels like one of the endgame systems for finding endgame loot. Now, instead of difficulty modes like normal, nightmare, and hell, like in Diablo 2, or torment difficulties in Diablo 3, Diablo 4 will have world tiers. World tier 1 and 2 are available from level 1. Tier 1 is for new players to ARPGs, and tier 2 is for veterans of Diablo. As you progress and clear specific content, more difficult world tiers are unlocked, leading up to a maximum world tier of 5, torment. Now, world tier 3, nightmare, is unlocked by clearing what's known as a capstone dungeon, so once you learn about that, definitely prioritize clearing that so you can move on to the next difficulty, which will yield more gold, more experience, and better loot. Also coming in Diablo 4 are Hell Tides, which are new region-wide events that appear after reaching World Tier 3 Nightmare. Monsters in a Hell Tide drop cinders, a currency used to open Hell Tide chests, which are scattered throughout the Hell Tide. These chests reward you with items exclusive to a single item slot like chest, legs, or a one-handed weapon. If you die while holding cinders, they all drop where you died and will need to be reclaimed. Diablo 4 will have seasons. Right now they're aiming for 4 seasons a year, and the first one will start after the launch of the game. The season journey from Diablo 3 will return in a similar form in Diablo 4, and each season will include changes to balance, items, quests, enemies, and more. And currently we know that the first season of Diablo 4 will not start until at least 6 weeks after the launch of the game because of in-game achievements. Now, one new feature coming to Diablo 4 is the Season Pass, which includes cosmetic items, premium currency, and gameplay boosts known as season boosts. Paid version can be purchased, which contains premium tiers, which also includes cosmetic items and premium currency, and season boosts will accelerate a player's progress during an active season by increasing experience gains, but season boosts can't be bought with real money, and so this is sort of the developer's take on you can't pay to win in Diablo 4. Diablo 4 will also have an in-game shop where players can purchase cosmetic-only items for real money. Now, some of the features we know from previous games that will not be in the game are followers, mercenaries, there's not going to be charms, there's no in-game auction house or real money auction house. There's also not going to be single player or offline play, and currently there are no plans to include any of these in Diablo 4, but like all of everything, it's subject to change, and we're going to have to see what makes it to the final game at launch. Diablo 4 is also going to have an endgame system called the Paragon System, which is an endgame system unlocked at level 50. The goal of this system is to provide players with a huge amount of endgame customization and also encourage replayability. Unlike the Paragon system in Diablo 3, which was nearly infinite, Diablo 4's Paragon boards will be capped, which is a relief. Every 25% of a level, you're going to unlock 1 Paragon point, so every level you get 4, starting at level 50, which means roughly 200 Paragon points total to spend on the Paragon board. Each tile on the Paragon board has a different rarity, similar to items like common, magic, rare, and legendary, granting better bonuses depending on rarity. For example, common can grant +5 strength, whereas a legendary tile might give you 30% more damage while you have at least 50% of your primary resource. Magic tiles can boost specific skills in a very specific way. For example, might give you +1 to Vine Creeper or +5% more damage to Pulverize, etc. And then the rare tiles will be more diverse, but basically just bigger bonuses than the magic tiles. Overall, each Paragon board will have roughly 85% of these basic nodes, which give you +5 strength or +5 dexterity, for example. It's going to have roughly 1/10 of them will be magic nodes, maybe half of that will be rare nodes, and then a single legendary node on each board. In total, you can probably get maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 legendary nodes total as you go from board to board. And these legendary nodes are very powerful. Like I said, I know there's one for Predatory Instinct Paragon board, which is for werebears, makes it so that the percent of life missing from your targets is bonus damage to you. So if they're at 70% health, you're going to get 30% bonus damage. So that's an example of how powerful a legendary node can be on these Paragon boards. And in addition to all these different types of tiles, there's actually also glyph tiles. Once you complete a nightmare dungeon, you can find glyphs there, which can be placed into a glyph slot, and it actually boosts the nodes surrounding it. The higher the level of the glyph, the greater area of effect it has on the tiles and the increased level of bonus that it's going to give to those tiles. So the harder the nightmare dungeon, the more powerful glyphs and so on. It's going to boost your whole Paragon board. And that is what we know about Paragon boards so far. Now, Diablo 4's new gambling system is through the Purveyor of Curiosities. Previously, developers told us that this system is important because the best items in the game will be available through gambling. However, in a recent interview, developers have walked back on that claim and said that the rarest items in the game, uniques, cannot be found from the Purveyor of Curiosities and must be found from slaying monsters. The Purveyor of Curiosities sells items which can be purchased using obols, the currency earned by completing events in the world such as defending a settlement or taking down a world boss. Also, the Purveyor of Curiosities sells Whispering Keys, which can be used to open silent chests, which randomly appear where you would normally find chests and contain better loot than regular chests. Elites and champion monsters are returning to Diablo 4, but unlike previous games, champions can only be found in Nightmare difficulty. Elite affixes like Mortar, Frozen, and Waller are also returning. You may have seen this in the beta, but also a new category of affixes called Enhancing Affixes, which are new to Diablo 4. These improve a monster's base powers, like causing a monster to multi-shot their attacks or resurrect multiple allies instead of just one at a time. Pretty cool new power there. World bosses are also new to Diablo 4 and come with a new unique system called the Stagger System. This system causes crowd-controlled effects to have no effect on the boss, but fill up a portion of the stagger bar for the boss. Once the stagger bar is filled, the boss becomes staggered and enters into a weakened state for the rest of the fight. For example, the boss drops one of his weapons, and once staggered again, will drop the other weapon, which basically just makes the fight easier. And that's all the updates I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Diablo 4 content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.